welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at IK Multimedia's Amplitube 5 Max. And the reason I am is because over the next kind of 5 months, the band that I'm in called Kampala, which is an original band, we write and record our own music. I'll stick a link to us up here. We are recording a second record, and as opposed to recording it in a studio, we're doing it all ourselves. For the purposes of recording the guitars in that record, I'm going to try a few different things. One is using Amplitube from IK Multimedia, which I'm going to talk about today. And the other is kind of using the Two Notes ecosystem, because as some of you will know, I'm now running the Two Notes Revolt Tube preamp as my amp for demoing all the gear I use here. So I'm going to combine that with their recording software to see whether going fully digital or analog front end with digital kind of cab modeling is better for me and which way I prefer. So what we're going to do today is look at Amplitube 5 Max to see how it works as both like a standalone guitar amp sim and then as a plug-in with GarageBand, which is what we're going to use for recording. So to talk about Amplitube 5 for a second, right? So Amplitube 5 is a guitar amp simulation software, basically. It's actually an entire guitar rig simulation software. And what it does is it allows you to choose a number of amps, a number of cabinets, microphones, rooms, and then like studio effects in post, kind of the amp side of things. And it allows you to put delays and reverbs in between your head and cab, and it allows you to put stomp boxes in front. So basically it allows you to build an entire guitar rig. In my case, I would only ever do that in a way where I build the rig myself as per the type of amps, pedals and stuff I want to use, but there are endless presets that you can choose from should you not want to do that. I don't explore presets. I'm actually just not a presets guy in general at all. I don't really use presets in any way, shape or form. In terms of like factory presets from manufacturers, I use presets massively in a live situation, but they're all presets I program myself. So I'm going to be using Amplitube 5, like I said, to record or reamp basically and repedal all of the sounds on this upcoming record my band's making. Either that, like I said, or the Two Notes ecosystem. So I guess let's introduce you now to Amplitube 5. Okay, so what I want to talk about first is Amplitube in its standalone format, right? And what that means is, actually hang on, I'm just going to get rid of this interface here. Okay, so what that means is you're not loading it up with a DAW, you're using a standalone. You can just download it, install it, go in, click on the icon, plug in your guitar and off you go. You can just jam, you don't need to use a DAW, right? So what's cool about that is it's ease of use, right? So to get started here, what I'm going to do is just show you the controls, right? So you'll get handed this kind of JCM 800 style amp, right? And you have all the controls here, like you control the bass, the middle, the treble, and maybe you can boost the presence or whatever it is. And you can control the volume. So I'm going to dial down the gain and dial up the volume so I get a cleaner sound, right? And that's kind of what that sounds like. And what that does is it gives you a really, really good starting point. So yeah, that's kind of the amp. What I'm going to do is move on to the cab. If I go over to the cabinet, then you can see you've got microphones, you've got an actual cabinet, and then you've got room mics, right? So what you can do is you can change the cab to start with. So I'm going to change to the 9000 here. Back to the 8000. I don't know if it actually changed there, did it? I think they're very similar. I'll change to the bit 30. Dramatically different sound, and the 800. I like that one the best. Okay, so you can change the cab. Then if you go over here to room, you can also change the particular room you're in. I particularly favour the mid-studio room. I really like that. And furthermore, you can take this room here on this little this is kind of the output bus. You can take this room and you can dial it up to get more ambience in the room. I feel that feels a bit forced. Then you can take the mics and you can move them off. you can move basically the mics around. You can move them forward and backwards with the stand as to how much room you want in between. I generally tend to leave them where they are. So that's kind of the guitar and cab situation. You can obviously go then with these mics and you can select whatever mic you want, but I like the two mics that are on it. And then there is the ability to go and say, okay, I'm happy with this rig, but I want to add some effects. So say I want to add a delay, I simply drag a delay in, drop a delay in between the head and cab. A lovely modulated delay. Works great. And then say, okay, I like that delay, but I want a little bit less of it. And a little bit less feedback. And then I want to add, say, a tube screamer in front. Same principle, you drag it, drop it here before the amplifier. Pretty noisy because the overdrives are full. A little bit less tone. Yeah, and you got a lead sound. Then, if you don't want to use that, you can either switch it off or you can literally drag it out. Same thing applies here. Power it off. It's cool actually. You can add all your modulation and delay effects here and then bypass them all with this switch, which is cool. The same thing apply here. Sorry, wrong switch. Oh yeah, by the way, this little kind of fork looking thing here is you can switch between having 1 amp, 2 amp or 3 amps, and then you can place effects wherever you want. So that's how you would build your guitar rig in Amplitube, right? I've already built my guitar rig, which the reason for that is, as I mentioned, I'm going to be using this to record all of the guitar parts of my band's upcoming record. And for that, I would very specifically want to use it in a build my guitar rig and return to my guitar rig for every song and pick the same amp, you know, with the same group of effects and then use different combinations of those effects for different parts. So I've already done that. So if I go into presets and into favorites, I have Rob Kampala rig here, and this is my rig. So right now I've just got the amp and cab activated. So my amp is this Mesa Boogie Transatlantic. And for some reason, this amp is super quiet. I'm on the clean side there. So sorry, it's a twin channel amp, right? It's really quite important. Because I use a twin channel amp, this Koch Studio Tone 20 head live. And so what I'm trying to do is, you know, emulate that by having a twin channel head here. Transatlantic comes from the idea that this side is a British sound and this side is an American sound. So this side is kind of an AC sound and this side is a tweed sound. So I'm on clean there. If I switch over to dirty, and back over to clean. And with that as well, I can say go in here and turn on a compressor with that clean sound. So getting into the pedal sound, I'm going to switch back over to the dirty side of the amp. Okay. Here we have, I just showed you the compressor. We can take this dirty sound and add a booster. Same thing but more distortion. I've also over here in this side, in this next block here, I've got a fuzz. I'm going to bump that up a little bit. It's really cool. I've got the T-Rex modeler, which is a tube screamer type. And I've got the OCD, full tone OCD. We don't want two of them on together with the dirty channel. Okay, so that's all my gain that I would need before the amp, especially if I've got a twin channel amp. So then after that, I have these 3 pedals here. This first one is like a multi-modulation pedal. So what this is I would use this for all my different mod effects. So that's a vibe, but say I want to change that to say a rotary. If I hit rotary, you got a preset for fast and a preset for slow. Works really well. Then, if I don't want to do any mod effects, I can just turn that off, go in and add that memory man delay, as well as a tape delay. And then after that, I've got these two rack effects, and that's a digital reverb and a parametric EQ. I don't use parametric EQ, it was just a default part to set up. In fact, I'm going to drag it out. And then I have my reverb here. Let's turn off that delay. Switch off that whole section, back into the reverb. I can make that far more dramatic by adding the mix. Really nice reverb actually, kind of a digital sounding reverb. It's a digital reverb. And so that's all the effects that I would need for this entire record. If there's any whammy or wah or anything like that, I would do it analog in front. So having all that set up, what I want to do now is just show you, there's a little, I think a little sort of kink to this thing that I found, which is, if I decided, right, that's exactly the way I want it, like for example, deleting that parametric EQ, and I went, right, I want to save that. What you would typically do is you would click on this and you would click on compile rig to save it. But when you do that, it reverts back to the last way it was saved. So if I go in and drag this parametric EQ out, what I actually need to do is go control click on Rob compile rig, go edit, save, and now it's saved it with the parametric EQ gone. So that's my rig. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up GarageBand, show you a track that I have in, and show you how I would use this to like reamp the direct guitar sound I recorded in GarageBand. So give me a second, I'll set that up. Okay, so right now I have GarageBand open in front of me here. And if I just close this, you'll see once I go into Amplitube, like I'm on Rob Guitar is the track I'm on, and I have the plugin of Amplitube on here. If I click on this, it brings up my dialog box with, as you saw in the last section, my rig. Okay, so what I've done is I've used the standalone app while I recorded in my direct guitar. So it recorded the guitar, but it didn't record the sound. So when it's bypassed, what you hear is this. That is the sound of my HMG F plugged directly into the computer. So when you turn on Guitar Rig, it sounds, or sorry, Amplitube, it sounds like this. So what that is the transatlantic on the dirty side with the Echo Man and the reverb, and that's it, right? So if I then go into the part where the band comes in, you'll hear it in the context of the mix. Okay, so that's working really well, right? I'm just going to mute the other guitar player's guitar for a second because I want to talk about that in a second. Okay, so what I've done here now is I want to show how you use automation to turn on and off pedals throughout the course of a song. So if I go back and play this just into the chorus part of this song here again and have a listen to it, right? So it's just the end. So when that part happens, I would ideally like this moller to come on here to make that overdrive sound fatter, right? So what I do is I go in here and I've already assigned the assign automation bypass to parameter 3, okay? And then in, I'm just going to move this out of the way for a sec. In GarageBand, I have assigned the current automation looking at to Amplitube 5 parameter 3, and how I do that is quite simple. I go down to Amplitube and I go parameter 3. And now I'm controlling with this automation graph the on-off times of the moller. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. So if I play it first. Right now it's on all the time. So what I want to do is turn it off by moving that up to here. So now it's off. So as you can see there, it came on at the point I wanted it to beef up that section of the song. Same thing applies at the end. I'm going to want it to turn off again. So what I'm going to do is add that animation to bring it from a on state down here. So it's off, on for this section and off. So I'm just going to play that whole thing now. So as you can see, after that situation, the motor goes off, it calms back down again to sit back in the mix and not take up as much attention as it does at that point. So that is how you would both load your sound, tweak your sound, and then use automation to turn on and off effects pedals as you would do when you're playing the song live. And that's the basis of how I'm going to do all these tracks if I use Amplitube, which I'm pretty impressed with it so far. So going on to one other thing I wanted to show you is I've used the exact same software, so Amplitube 5 Max, to do Dan's, the other guitar players in my band's guitar part, right? And same thing applies. He is using, except he's using different gear, right? So he's using the Fender Vibro King amp, and he's just using an OCD pedal for this part. So without it, without the plug-in turned on, his guitar sounds like this. I'll just solo it for a sec. And then with it on. So his guitar has no delay. His guitar has no delay and it's quite a bit brighter than mine. So if I turn that on and show you in the mix with my guitar, with Amplitube doing all the amplification for the two guitars in this. So I'll just give it a little bit of a run in. So, what is cool about that is you can use, I could set up this GarageBand project, GarageBand is free. I could go share it with Dan. Dan can open up on his Mac. He can play in his guitar part as long as he records a dry part. He can monitor however he wants. He can give it back to me. I've modeled his guitar rig and I can go and put what I know effects he will put on, or even get him to instruct me what effects to put on where. And I have everything together here in this one project. And I'm able to affect all the guitar sounds after the fact, and I think that that's really valuable. So that's like a newbie's, you know, first look at Amplitube. So there you go. As the video states, I'm a newbie at this, and what I mean by that is I do know what the principle of plugins is, and I have used them before, and standalone guitar amp sims, but we're talking Line 6's amp farm back in like 2012, 2013, so like over 10 years ago since the last time I used one of these things in earnest. And I have found that that is a very satisfying playing experience. I think having the amount of amps you have to choose from, actually no, I'm going to step back a bit, it's not even that, it's how easy all those components are there to build your own guitar rig that you can base your entire record on. And in that way, I think this is a really, really great piece of software in that it's not all, oh, here's a preset such and such put together, use that, or here's a preset another famous guitarist put together. That doesn't interest me at all. I know what I'm trying to achieve in my head before I go there, and I know what effects I'm trying to use, I know what amp sounds I'm looking for, I know what guitars I want to use and stuff, and the way that this software allows you to put together your own rig, I think makes it very usable in my mind. So like I said, this is the first of 2 videos I'm going to be making about this, and then I'm also going to be sort of tracking the progress over the next 6 months of making this new record. It's probably going to be about 6 or 7 songs. So yeah, check out Amplitube 6, I think. I can't remember, whatever it is, even 5 or 6 max. Check it out if you're looking for a way to both like be able to jam, be able to build your own rig and then use that rig just to jam at home, or use it to record in a plug-in, you know, post-recording sound treatment kind of way. And by the way, you can also completely use this with a foot controller for live. You'd be bringing a laptop out. That's not something I would ever do. That's too far for me into the realm of digital guitar amps, like using a laptop. I would never do that. But it can be used quite successfully in that way. So there you go, that's Amplitube. Pretty good solution if you're looking to record guitar. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, stick them in the comment section below, and hopefully I shall see you in another video again soon. Take it easy, bye bye.